we'll preface this, right? What would you say are your favorite horror movies, KB, if you had to choose?
Um, oh, I
And
love
I'll pose the question to chat as well.
I I love my Halloween. Sinister, really good one. Pretty modern film, but still classic. Exorcist. It was ages ago since I watched The Exorcist, but still like way ahead of its time. The Thing, really love The Thing.
Oh, The
Um,
Thing is
The
fantastic.
Shining. Um, the one of the Saw films, maybe the first one. I think the first Saw film is an absolute classic. Um, I really did like that latest one that came onto Netflix called The Platform. It's like a French movie, but it's been dubbed over, and it's like a more psychological horror. So I like those kinds of ones as well. Um, but yeah, those are a few of my favorite things.
In terms of horror, yeah,
And then I
my
don't
so
feel
my
so slashed.
um, in terms of my horror taste, it's so odd, right? Because me and my mate um used to watch really crap, low budget horror movies. I'm talking really crap and really low budget.
Yeah.
Not in, obviously you have things like Trauma, which is deliberately um rubbish. You
Mhm.
know, Toxic Avenger and Citizen Toxie, yada yada, all that stuff. Deliberately tongue in cheek,
Mhm.
which is how I like my horror movies for the most part, like Evil Dead 2 as
Mm.
well, and um, Brain Dead. Brain Dead is brilliant, by the way. If you've never seen that, it's one of Peter Jackson's first ever films. He
Oh
started
really?
off as a horror movie director, and it's so gory that you just laugh because it's so gory. Any movie that gets a set of internal organs walking about by themselves is doing something right. You know what I mean?
Is a bit of a question. What would you find? Oh, It Follows, another good one. Um, Scream, yeah, that counts as well.
Oh, Scream! I love Scream. Scream is
Scream's quite
brilliant.
cool because
And
it does poke fun at those horror movie tropes while also
well,
being
that's the
it at the
thing.
same
That
time.
that's another thing I love about like Cabin in the Woods. I was going to say another one.
Mm.
Films that are self-aware and self-reflexive of their own tropes.
Yeah, and
I tend to gravitate towards a lot more. But I like the Hellraiser movies as well. And
mhm.
I met Doug Bradley actually at a convention. Really nice guy, but I was so terrified, and I was like, I'll never forgive myself for this. But my mate is the biggest Hellraiser fan, right? My aforementioned mate. He could barely speak to him because he was so nervous. And then he was like, "I'll just get a photo." Took the photo. My hands were shaking, and these are in the days, obviously, of old like wind-up cameras
Mm.
as opposed to phones. And I took the photo, and it's so blurry, and you can barely make out either of them. But
Mm.
obviously, we didn't really have time to take another one, and I'll never forgive myself for that one. But actually, Hellraiser, like 1, 2, and 3 are great, right? 4 is a bit crap. 5 and 6 are underrated. I tell you, Hellraiser, Hellseeker, and Hellraiser Inferno. I recommend checking out. Um, that's just a brief list of my horror movies. But
I was gonna pose a question. In any like non-horror movie, what is the scariest thing you found in a non-horror movie?
oh, well, I'll tell you what. Like, I have not been able to get to sleep that much recently because of one PSA that I stumbled upon on the internet.
All right.
For some reason on YouTube, I like to look up the scariest PSAs of all time. You know what PSAs are, right?
Yeah,
They're
public
like
service
they're like
announcement. Like the
adverts warning you of the dangers of something,
don't
right?
don't drink and drive. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them are so scary.
Oh yeah.
It's unbelievable. There's what basically the one I'm talking about is it's actually a Scottish based advert, and it's warning you of the dangers of it's either methamphetamine or crystal meth.
Right.
And basically it's a picture of this girl's face, and she's like a little like an innocent looking girl. And then all of a sudden, as the advert progresses, her face morphs into like a evil, like kind of that sort of face, and it's
Right.
so scary. I've been losing sleep over that. So adverts tend to scare me more than like scary stuff in non-horror films.
Mm.
Although I don't know if would you count Seven as a horror film?
I'd never seen it.
Because the bit in Seven where I don't know, spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen Seven. Oh, and it's not really a spoiler, right? But basically, the whole point of Seven was that it's a killer that kills people based on the seven deadly sins,
Mm.
and he ties one of the victims to a bed, right? And he's completely emaciated and like almost like a skeleton, right? So he looks like he's dead. But as Morgan Freeman leans in, it suddenly goes, ah!
Oh,
And
bloody jump
jumps up
scares.
at you. Any jump scare in any non-horror film, I just no.
Yeah, I was. That was another one I was going to mention as well. Was recently watched the movie Split with James McAvoy. That
Oh, great movie.
that was
Great
really
movie.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the other one as well? Because I was thinking of Red Dragon. You know,
Now
Silence
I
of the
really
Lambs
want to see
sort of
that.
thing.
I want to see that because I love Edward Norton. He's one of my favorite actors.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is like it's to die for. Like I thought the Hannibal. Like I think it's a sequel, isn't it?
Well,
Or is it a
weirdly, the
prequel?
only Hannibal film I've actually seen is Hannibal Rising, which is like the worst
That is
one.
terrible, absolutely terrible. No, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal is pretty good, but I think it can get a bit boring at times. But then Red Dragon is like this whole cat and mouse game, which I really love. I think then there's the TV series, which is good, but I found
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah.
yeah, I think my problem with it was like there wasn't enough kind of character variation. It kind of just felt a bit samey to me. But that's I just prefer like sort of character